Let's start with the anatomy of a weather forecast. What is a weather forecast? At least in the U.S. Hold on, let me get my mic better. Probably it's better. What is a weather forecast? Like, what? How do they do this? I've sort of studied this for a long time. I'm not trained in anything. Me and my older brother sort of see eye to eye on this particular topic that I'm going to talk about, and we both have similar backgrounds in that we're both high school dropouts and are dyslexic as fuck, but we figured out how to get really good jobs and, live interesting lifestyles. Let's put it that way, that are unconventional. So I would consider us smart people that know what we're talking about. But I'm just some random dude on the internet, just like my handle used to be on Twitter before they banned it. So we can. I don't know. I don't want to get banned on YouTube. I don't think I get banned for this topic. But anyway. If you read a forecast discussion, they'll list several things going on. They'll tell you about, let's see here. Apparently the fires are a big deal. I don't see any smoke right now. The sky is crystal clear. But, yeah, we always have fires this time of year. This is like the worst time. But we also have a kind of a little mini heat wave coming up. I really can't wait for the hoodie weather to come back. I really just can't wait. But usually what they do, if you look at certain things, certain paragraphs, I just kind of scan these things. See, when those acronyms, they are standing for, oh, nice. I like that. See, what they're talking about here, that's a European model. These are computer models. And this is how they predict the weather. And I believe NOAA to be, for people who bash the government all the time, and, I do, this happens to be I actually went and, when they were trying to get rid of this, I actually, wrote my Congress critter and said, no, this is the most highest quality weather information you get. Nobody from the private sector does this very well. And besides, if the government has access to the military's radars and stuff like that and satellites, why can't we get the benefit of better weather prediction? And it sort of has with this. That's kind of what these guys do. I've had a weather radio since I was, 11, I've got weather radios. I've got weather stations. I'm a weather nerd. One of the best gifts I've ever gotten was this weather station that tells you the indoor, outdoor temperature, dew points, wind speed, all this stuff. I don't bother with the rain gauge because it's just going to keep emptying it. But I have a rain gauge. I don't keep total records on it, but it's nice to oh, we got 4 inches of rain yesterday. It's interesting. If that happens, or whatever. It was only a quarter inch. It seemed like it was a lot more. Stuff like that. So, I really am a weather nerd, and let's face it, these guys tried their best, and I don't believe there's any... Well, they do kind of push this topic that I'm going to talk about a little too much, but for the most part, I believe they do a good job. They give this information out 3 times a day. They redo the forecast, I believe. It used to be 4 times a day with the weather radio and a human being speaking it in Los Angeles, and it was the coolest thing ever. There really isn't much to listen to, but usually, because it usually isn't raining, although I'm going to get to that point at some point. But hold on. I'm waiting for the gummy to kick in. CossetWellness.com. Use code Andy at the checkout. There'll be a link in the description. Best CBD, and I'm not lying. It really is the best CBD. It's wow, I can't believe this stuff is. This is what CBD is. Wow, I didn't know this. I don't need regular weed anymore. Okay. Guess I can move to whatever state I want. But, yeah, so anyway, a weather forecast is a combination of computer models and good intuition, and kind of knowledge. These people that work here, if they're doing a good job, they know the local area. That's what makes you a good weather forecast. It's funny because my friends think I forecast the weather. I don't. I just come here and read this and then give my opinion. I go, I think it might snow. Yeah, we might actually get snow this time. I'm wrong too sometimes. It's weird in California you get in arguments because it's very emotional. We want it to rain, and if somebody says it's not going to rain and they want it to rain, they get really pissed off because we don't get it. The problem with California is they're always waiting for the rain. It's I'm kind of getting that feeling right now. It's yeah, when will we get rain? But okay, so anyway, now what I want you to do is think of CNN, think of ABC, NBC, whatever bullshit media company, and how much they push this climate stuff. What would they be acting like if these following events that I'm going to show you happened? Okay, let's start off with the biggie. This happened here in the beautiful state of Oregon. This is called the Columbus Day Storm. What this was basically a hurricane that hit Oregon. That hasn't happened since. See, originally Typhoon Freda by meteorologists, okay, and called the Big Blow by many. What this was a wind event with, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, my house would not survive this. I would, if this happened today, I would. Luckily, that is actually insured. Because they don't insure floods unless you buy flood insurance. But that would be insured because it's wind damage. So yeah, and the losses would be so massive. Who knows if they'd actually be able to pay? Yeah, but there's no way in hell. Like, I've been through a storm with about 120 mile an hour winds, and it started to lift up this condo's roof that I was in. That was another one that was kind of like this, but it wasn't it wasn't 120. I'd say it was about 100. But yeah, you could hear the roof going. When I woke up and there was like all this building material in my front yard. Half the trees were down. Before that storm hit, there was like this downpour that was so. I've never seen it. It's almost like solid water coming down out of the sky. I've never seen it rain like that before. It was just so. I've never seen it since. That was a really weird year. It was like 2008 to 2009. That was a really 2007, really weird year for weather. This is my point. There's no such thing as normal in climate. Okay, there's just all these different things and they average out. It's usually pretty boring, particularly where I am. We don't get a lot of thunderstorms. But, every once in a while you get some weird thing. Like, one of my favorite phenomenons is thunder snow, which I've only gone through once, sorta, and I slept through the best part of it. That's unfortunate. But yeah, she's like, how did you sleep through that? I don't know. But yeah, but I slept because it's really loud. But anyway, this is a major, I mean, if this storm happened now, can you imagine what, CNN would be doing? It would be like they'd be talking about it for 3 weeks. You'd have people virtue signaling all over Twitter. I don't know. Is that really happening anymore? I don't go on Twitter, but I don't know. It's like, it kind of feels like that shit's dying off slowly, but I don't know. Like, they're starting to finally get embarrassed enough about the bullshit. And this is kind of a hard topic for me because I am liberal and I do like environmentalism. I don't really like cutting down trees. I mean, I support loggers in a sense because I understand the important work that they do. But I would like to create a world where they don't have to log. Like, they would have a better, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to eliminate their job, but I would like to create a world where we don't need that much wood to build houses because they don't even. There's better ways to build houses, like a dome or something, There's just better materials that are better. Wood is good for earthquakes. I'll give it that. It's flexible, so when you have an earthquake and you're in a wooden house, I don't sweat like an earthquake destroying my house. Even I dare say, like if it was on the San Andreas Fault or something, I wouldn't. Wooden houses that are one story, maybe two, are fine for that. But that's the only thing they're good for. I mean, they don't last very long. They mold. They rot out. It's just, I don't know. It's just I didn't want to. It's the only thing you can get is this kind of stuff. So yeah, you've got this whole history. Okay, now let's go to California. Now, with California, you've got a similar climate, but they have these massive droughts and massive floods. I mean, massive floods. What is this? A hurricane in 1976? Oh, yeah, it was the remnants of a hurricane. Okay, yeah, but that's... Well, this was before my time, but no one talked about this, so I don't think it was that big a deal. It was probably just a bunch of thunderstorms. Because I've seen that before, when a hurricane dies, and then it comes up here, and then, or to California, and then, you just get a bunch of thunderstorms, but it's not really, Yeah, there's another one. This is interesting. These both happened in the 70s, because this doesn't happen very often. It almost happened once when I was, 18 or 19, and I was all excited about it, and my stoner friends were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, there's going to be a hurricane. It's going to hit Los Angeles, dude. And it didn't happen. It's not even on this list. So it fizzled out. See, that's another thing about they tried their best, but you can't really predict the weather. So how the fuck are they going to predict the weather 100 years from now or 50 years from now? No one does. No one can. The climate's always changing. It's just always... I don't believe mankind understands. I don't believe we're controlling the weather either. I don't believe all that bullshit either. I don't think we can control it. We can modify it. We can definitely see clouds. I mean, I see them spray shit. I see that shit happen, and it is weird. I don't know. I think it might be for another purpose. That's another video, but I don't want to go there. But yeah, I definitely have seen that where you have a nice, beautiful blue day, and then the planes show up, and it's ruined. They ruin it. They aren't doing that much lately, which is interesting, and it's been getting kind of hot, so that is interesting too. But you know, we're going to the 90s and maybe what is it, 100? Hold on. This is not that big a deal for this time. I mean, come on, it's September. It's just a little. This is just look at how fast it's just going to cool right back down. So that's fine. I mean, yeah, I just want the hoodie weather back. But yeah, this one is not what I was looking for. But it's just another example. I've seen floods like this. I mean, they have better flood control now than they did in 1938. But I have been through one storm in particular in the year 2005, I believe. I was in the mountains, and all the roads got washed out. We had almost 30 inches of rain in like 3 days or something. It was like 10 inches of rain per day. It was just this torrential downpour, and it was scary as fuck because you kept seeing these snowflakes show up in the rain, and they're like, oh fuck, if this starts snowing, you know. And my trash can like got blown like almost a mile. Like I had to go run a mile to get my trash can. Like it was that bad. It was just nuts. You know, these things happen, but they're not normal. Like, it was preceded by a massive drought that everybody thought would go on forever. In fact, there were lakes in this particular town. I don't want to name it, but there were lakes in this particular town that I thought were, like, I would never see full again. Like, I would never see them in my lifetime, like, full. Like, that's it. Like, the climate had changed or whatever. But guess what? After 5 days of that storm, all those lakes were full. They were full the next fucking year when I came back. It's weird how this shit works. I don't understand it. But, because, like, I lived in this place for years and years, and, like, there was no water in those lakes. They were, like, dry lakes. And then they were full for, like, 3 or 4 years. They're probably dry right now. I should ask, people. But, yeah, no, so, with this stuff, yeah, the point is, like, the climate, like, as being a student of the climate of the west coast of the United States, and I am a student of it. Like, I've studied it since I was a little kid. I've been a weather nerd. I've read discussions for the Weather Service pretty much like 5 times a week, like for, I don't know, 30 years, 20 years. I mean, not kidding. Like, I listened to it on the weather radio. There wasn't internet, and but yeah, I mean, it was always like, what's going on with the weather? You know, I don't know. I'm interested in it. This is why it so pisses me off that there's so much ignorance, and people are so manipulatable when it comes to this issue, and what they're really trying to do is scare you with fear porn and get you to accept a reality where, you know, you don't have as much and you got to work harder for it and you got to pay more for it. And that's not what the guy upstairs wants us to live like. He wants us to live happily, you know. At least that's what I believe. So he wants us to have a good time, you know, just not anybody else's expense. That's all. Have a good time helping other people. That's actually can be a good time. So, yeah, that was a really big flood. I obviously wasn't there for it. I did spend a lot of time talking to old people when I was young. So that helps too, I think, if you want to be a wise person faster. Like, that was my strategy. It's like, start learning from the people that are like in their 80s and 90s when you're like 12, 13, 14, which is what I would do. I mean, yeah, I'm always interested in people that are older than me because, you know, well, everybody's interesting, but yeah, they always have a little more to offer. But, like, I'm talking, like, sometimes, like, it was weird when I was a kid because there were people that, like, my great-grandma was born in the 1800s, and I got to talk to her just a little bit, you know, about, like, actually talk, like, a conversation, you know. I was mature enough to, so you get this knowledge in this horse sense, and, like, a lot of farmers, a lot of people in the resource industry, a lot of people who rely upon the climate, they know this is bullshit. And some people are just afraid to talk about it. Me and my brother are not. He gives presentations on it. I mean, I don't know if I can find the videos of it, but then it would instantly dox us all. He doesn't give a fuck. You know, he's a ham operator, so you get his call sign, and I am too. So I can't give out my call sign because I'd be stupid. But yeah, they all do on YouTube. I don't know, but anyway, but yeah, that's another thing. A lot of ham operators get this too. Ham operators are very technical people. Like, we know how to build antennas. We know how to, like, set up radios and stuff like that. Like, I've built antennas for people. You know, like, I like to help old people that, like, can't talk on the CB well and just build my antenna. I used to do that. I don't know. Nobody built it for now, but it's kind of fun. It's a simple setup. It's not like that hard to do. It's just measuring things and cutting wires and stuff like that. But yeah, I like stealth antennas too, like for people in apartments that can't really talk on the radio. But yeah, it's everybody that's into that hobby. Who these are not some people. They usually have pretty damn good jobs and like they're really intelligent. They don't believe this bullshit. They're kind of afraid to talk about it, but you know, it's just this stuff has been going on forever. There's always going to be. This is probably the one. Yep, there it is. That was when. Now imagine if a tropical storm hit Los Angeles tomorrow, right? It's not going to happen, but imagine if that happened and people died from it. That would suck. We don't want anything to happen, but let's just say if it happened. Like, let's just stop it here. Like, I don't like to. Wait, hold on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my little brother used to work there. Anyway, let's pretend though this happened today, like, and we had major floods and shit, and like, you know, like think of what the news media would be doing with fear porn to you. Like, think about how much crap you'd have to hear, and how much guilt you have to get for driving a freaking 4-cylinder car or something. You know, it's just like I'm so tired of this bullshit. So that's all I gotta say about it. But yeah, it's just it has to stop. Like, it's just I don't know. There's just things that I just can't deal with. So yeah.